All righty. All right.
Yay, welcome to Spiritual Nerd Chat, everyone. Woo! We're back.
We're back. We cannot be deterred. We cannot be stopped.
No, we will be coming back a couple of times now. That's
Yes.
for sure.
Mm-hmm. We have exciting things planned too. I'm really excited.
Oh, yes, me too.
Our guests.
Should we spoil? No, we don't.
No, let's just keep them hanging.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some cliffhangers we have for you.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Lovely that you join us. It's so good to have you all. Satnam, everyone.
Yay, Satnam.
So, Spiritual Nerd Talk today. Jamila and I have decided to speak about things that you can do, that you consume in order to have more clarity for your kind of high senses, we would say.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say?
The energetics of consumption, which I think is a funny
Yeah.
word. I was meditating on that word because consumption's an old-fashioned name for like a disease. But in the English, consuming, and also it has other connotations. To be consumed is like, we think of consuming as taking in, but to be consumed, you're being consumed by something else. So I think it's very interesting to nerd out on that word, and also like meditating on all the things we consume and if they're consuming us, actually.
Yeah, I
You know
think
what I
that's
mean?
really interesting.
So
So
yeah, thanks for this topic because I'm into it.
I was like, oh, I had this one client of mine. She really has this heightened sense of like, how do you say when someone like sees with the third eye? It's
Oh,
um
clairvoyant?
clairvoyant. Thank you. That
Mm-hmm.
was exactly
Mm-hmm.
the word I was looking for. So she had this talent to be clairvoyant, like, and all of a sudden she was not clairvoyant anymore. She's like, oh, Nicole, I'm trying to go in these resonances, or I'm trying to do like a certain frequency healing, but I don't know why, but I cannot see the things anymore. I was like, oh, okay, so let's analyze, what did you change? And do you have toothpaste with fluoride all of a sudden because your husband
Mm-hmm.
bought it again? And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I have that under control. And then we were going through the things, and she's like, oh, you should really do a nerd talk about that. And I was like, I'm going to ask Jamila if she's
Love
fine.
it.
Yes, because there's so many things you can do to, to actually have more clarity in your senses, in the five senses, which
Mm-hmm.
then also lead to more clarity in the like in the higher senses, like in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
clairvoyance and clairaudience, and
Mm-hmm.
what's the smell called?
Oh
Is that,
God.
that's fun.
That's such a good question. We'll have to figure that out.
And
I don't know.
clair feeling, I don't know.
Mm.
So
Clairsentience,
sentience,
clairaudience.
oh, I love that.
Sentience is one of, I don't know which one that is, but.
Well, okay. So and we had this conversation, and I was like, I need to ask Jamila on her take on that. Like, what do you have as a perception of what
Mm.
you like put your into your body, like into
Mm-hmm.
your system? Does that have like an effect on your feeling, your ability in meditation, your
Mm-hmm.
ability to sit in the
Mm.
neutral mind, to yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, so like the Ayurvedic word Sattvic, comes to mind when it comes to food, and like why yogis are, recommended to eat Sattvic food, because it's like so beneficial for your meditation practice. I personally I don't find a huge difference with, like, for example, eggs is something that, we're instructed not to eat as meditators because it reverses the direction of the spin of your pituitary gland. Um, but for example, for me, I don't have any sense perception of that. And when I eat eggs, I find it very helpful. It feels very good. So I think we're bio-individual, and I think it's important to develop a sensitivity to figure out what works with your individual energetic and physical makeup. So I don't know. I find that if I eat like garbage, of course that makes a difference, but I don't know that I'm the most finely tuned instrument out there. Because I know because I know a lot of other people that are way more sensitive than me when it comes to substances. But I will say, just to broaden the subject a bit, the in the culture, it's super normal to ingest substances of all kinds, alcohol and drugs and everything. And even as meditating people, a lot of times the feeling is that psychedelics can be advantageous to the opening your spiritual or energetic facilities. And I would caution against thinking that the shortcut's worthwhile. You know, I had a whole chapter of my life before I found meditation where, I was exploring those things. And then when I became a meditator and really dedicated to my practice, I realized, wow, I have to actually undo a lot of damage that I did to my sensory system. So the question, I think the fundamental question in this subject is, are you consuming it or is it consuming you? Because I think just to like broaden it to the whole psychedelic conversation, I think the psychedelics are mainly consuming you because there's entities attached to those substances. And, what are you attaching your energetic bodies to? What streams of energy? So that's another can of worms, maybe. But I do like that subject. So that's my rambling answer to your question.
Love it. Very interesting. So maybe we go and have a generalization about how a yogic diet is a sattvic diet and what that means, because
Mm-hmm.
maybe some of our listeners don't know what that would
Mm-hmm.
mean for,
Yeah.
because they don't know Ayurveda very well, and I think you know quite a bit. So what are
I don't know about that.
a little bit?
Thank you. You give me so much credit and I really appreciate it. Thank you so
Well,
but I do love food, and I'm married to someone that is really into food. He's a very good cook, and we make khichdi all the time, which is mung beans and rice, which is a cornerstone of the Ayurvedic diet for sure. So I could speak on that.
mm,
And then just generally on what I know of Ayurveda and a Sattvic diet, which I think Sattvic is a very good word to have in your vocabulary, and you can kind of use it as a lens to view your food choices as a guide and to tune in with your intuition. So Sattvic, that you find the root of that is Sat, which our main mantra in Kundalini Yoga, Sat Nam, truth. So Sat, truth. Sattvic, it's the vibration of truth. It's a pure energy, and that can run through all things in creation in this realm, including your food. And so Sattvic food is food that holds a higher vibration, higher frequency. It's a lot of times fresh foods, but it's also foods prepared in a Sattvic way, which would be, just speaking of practical matters, it's, cooking with pure water, steaming, boiling. It's not frying in, fats necessarily. A ghee would be considered a Sattvic fat, and olive oil. So we make a dish, mung beans and rice, which if you're a Kundalini yogi, you're certainly aware of it. But I have a lot of non-Kundalini friends that when they come over and they eat the mung beans and rice, they're like obsessed with it, because it's satisfying on another level. It feels really good to eat it, and it's just a basic mung beans, rice cooked with vegetables and specific spices that are very balancing to all the doshas, which is all the like energy patterns that Ayurveda, organizes our system into. And so yeah, that's maybe a little beginnings feel on Sattvic diet. So it's high vibration food, and so it's fresh. It's a emphasis on freshly made food, not like canned and fried and super processed. So that would be a Sattvic diet. And when you eat a Sattvic diet, you are supporting the higher energies in your body to, like, you're tuning like yourself like a radio. It gives you access to higher frequency energy.
I love that.
So,
That's so interesting. I never heard of the diet before, ever. I'm really
oh,
not like,
oh, cool.
I'm not into, like, I don't know the terminologies of a lot of things. Um,
Well, you speak many languages, at least two that I know of. So therefore,
a couple more. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay. So yeah, in English, I mean, you might have that concept in another language that you speak
Oh,
too.
they
So
sure do. They
yeah.
sure do. I have I think the Ayurvedic the whole Ayurvedic system is super interesting for us as yogis.
Mm-hmm.
Like in
Mm-hmm.
general, if you have like
Absolutely.
any, I think also it has a really good guideline if you have issues with food. Like if you have
Absolutely.
like eating disorders, etc., in any type way or form, I think the Ayurvedic concept is very logical because it provides a lot of rules.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think a
Yeah.
lot of people nowadays, especially in the Western countries, have a huge issue because the rule set of food is really not given anymore. And
Mm,
therefore, it's super complicated to maneuver yourself um, through through the field, basically.
so true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think is a Sattvic diet also a diet where you don't eat meat?
Yes, in a
Okay.
classical sense, yes. Yes.
It would be
Mm-hmm.
kind of vegetarian then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Vegetarian. I mean, this could be corrected on this, but my understanding is traditionally yes,
Yeah.
Sattvic diet. But for a lot of people, they feel meat is what their body needs. So there would be a Sattvic way to incorporate meat versus, but I think meat in general as an energy source is more of what they call rajasic or tamasic, which is like rajasic's like kind of like a very active warrior, very
Interesting.
like young energy, and then tamasic is like heavy, dull, like just dense energy. So
Interesting.
just as a, like, all judgments aside, like not putting
Oh,
value
no, no,
judgments on it at
we
all, but
don't.
just as just as a pure source of energy, it takes a lot more energy to digest meat. So it's a trade-off for people.
Mhm.
It's like, and I'm also told that when you like a lot of times when a meditator will eat meat, that it affects their meditation. Like they feel much like something blocking, that it's harder to go out, to connect to the higher frequency energies. That's some people's experience that have shared with me. But there's cultures through a time and even currently where, you know, like spiritual energy worker people eat meat. So I think that's a very interesting conversation. Um, and that a lot of value judgments and ego trips get tied into that
Oh, yeah,
conversation.
totally.
So yeah, it's just fascinating. Yeah, I'm thinking of so much drama actually around that subject, and in even just to tie in a tangential subject, like I remember there being so much drama about Kundalini yogis using sheepskins. And it's like, oh, aren't you
Mm.
guys vegetarian? Like, you're sitting on this dead animal. Like, that's so like
Yeah, I heard
or
that too.
barrack or whatever. Like when we used to do summer solstice in New Mexico, there was always this drama around the sheepskins. Some people feeling so superior because they wouldn't use sheepskins. They would only use like a wool, like felted wool rug or whatever, instead of like a dead animal. And so, but what my teachers would say would be like, and Yogi Bhajan, I mean, it comes from Yogi Bhajan, was that like when we meditate on a sheepskin, that we develop an energetic relationship with the soul of that animal that we're sitting on, and that we help to liberate that soul. And so that's like a whole, that's playing on a whole other level, which I think most of us were not raised in that mindset. It's, it opens up, you have to be willing to meet life on a multi-dimensional level, or else it doesn't make sense. And it is like, what are these vegetarians doing sitting on dead animals or whatever? But you know what, people can get real tripped out on purism, and that's a trap. Is a total trap, because if you're agreeing to live in 3D in this realm, you're gonna have to get comfortable with polarity, and there's many sides, especially the negative side. Because show me somebody, if you're on your phone right now, you're directly contributing to the slavery that's happening in the Congo. So you should start praying for those people that are mining the raw elements that are using to power the batteries in this phone that you're on right now. So, we can get really judgmental about a lot of things. So, yeah, my 2 cents about that. Where were we going? I don't even know. I went like
You just left the road. You went down the rabbit hole.
I
You
just
like the driver, and you look.
these are subjects I love.
So good.
So back to Sattvic diet.
I think what's very interesting for me is, and I think this is the age of Aquarius. So in the age of Aquarius, you do you, and you make your own experience, and you just try whatever works for you specifically. Because I personally, for example, I cannot eat meat, but it has nothing to do with my yogic perception. I just have a physical body that went through a lot of operations and through a lot of very hard times. And through, because of my personal history, my cells cannot deal with meat. Because when I eat meat, I get infections instantly.
Wow.
Like my
So
body is
interesting.
just not made for that. I became a vegetarian when I was a child. I just stopped
Wow.
eating meat. And
Wow.
I started eating meat again. And then, like years ago, I battled with pain. I was in daily pain, and I was in pain that was like, sometimes I couldn't move. Like I had a friend of mine, she came over and she helped me go into the shower because I couldn't get out of bed on myself, like that. And so with the healing process, I tried many things as well. Like it's try and error. So the one thing I tried was I tried to not eat meat for like a month or something. And then after like 2 weeks, I had no inflammation in my body anymore.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
was like, oh my God, like the inflammation is gone. And then I was like, oh, maybe I can eat meat when I'm as a guest at someone's place, or when I go out, then I can have like a good piece of meat. Well, here in Switzerland, like we're blessed. We have like organic and like the cow just next door, and I mean, it's amazing. And so I thought I will do that. So 2 months later, I went to Abu Dhabi in the Emirates, and I had a friend there. She lives there with her husband, and she invited us, and she made Moroccan couscous with lamb shoulder. I was like, oh my God, like I love that. I was like, I'm gonna have like some 2, 3 pieces of the lamb shoulder. I will be fine. I was so wrong. So I tried to eat the lamb, and then I was out for 2 days. Like my
Wow.
whole body was in rashes of pain,
Wow.
and I
Wow.
couldn't barely could move the next morning. I like it was really bad. So
Wow.
the reason why I don't eat meat had actually not a lot to do with the yogic
Yeah, yeah.
scriptures. It was just a pure logical consequence of my healing story.
Oh, that's so
So
interesting.
yeah, and so I think everybody needs to just find out it's her or his own shit. Like you do
Mm-hmm.
you. This is the Aquarian age. If you don't want to eat meat, you don't do it. If you want to eat meat, you do it. If you have like you're not someone very visual anyways. For you it probably doesn't make a big difference if you eat eggs or not.
Oh,
For
as far as my meditation go, yeah, it
Yes,
makes no
no.
difference.
Because you're very you feel a lot. You're more in the feeling state. So for me, I'm purely visual. I can like I have like when I eat eggs, like my whole system is like, oh.
Wow.
I had this one very, very interesting thing that happened to me. I was in Turkey and I in the middle of the pandemic, I was like, I gotta go to Turkey, need to go to Göbekli Tepe, which is a site in
Mm-hmm.
Turkey, which
Mm-hmm.
it was just found and it basically rewrites human history as they thought it happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I went there in March 2020, I think, or 2021. I don't remember.
Wow. Wow.
So I flew there, and I had in this hotel that I always had these little water bottles. It's like, oh my God, this is so convenient. I will do that at home when I go home. I will do that because then I always drink enough because I only have one kidney. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is so good for me. Like these little bottles, it's like so convenient. And so I went to a grocery store and I got these little Evian bottles. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
like that, the small ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I placed them everywhere and I tried to like drink. So I started drinking Evian every day, two, three of these little bottles
Mm-hmm.
next
Mm-hmm.
to my normal tap water that I would drink for lunch and dinner. I was so fascinated. After 2 weeks, I was barely able to do my daily practice. I was like, what is
Whoa.
this? Why is everything in me? Why do I have no insights in meditations? I have like all these strange feelings. I have this deep feeling of like ick to meditation and everything. I was like, what did I change? What
Mm-hmm.
changed?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, huh, I'm drinking Evian water every day. That's the only thing that changed
Wow.
in my
Wow.
intake. So I stopped it. And like 4 days later, it was good again. So
Whoa.
what's really interesting, and it's the same with like, I stopped using toothpaste with fluoride because
Mm-hmm.
fluoride just stops your third eye. It
Mm-hmm.
just does shit to your body. And
Mm-hmm.
people are like, oh yeah, it's in your mouth. Yeah, stupid. Like, come on. Let's be like,
No.
or I stopped using deodorants with aluminium.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's your lymphatic system.
Yeah.
Hello, like why do we do that? And I mean, if you're not conscious of it, like I didn't know that these things, it's
Yeah.
try and error. So
Yeah.
I tried it and then I stopped the fluoride toothpaste. And I was like,
Mm.
huh,
Mm-hmm.
ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that really changed the game of my perception of past lives, for example. I can
Wow.
see
Wow.
with much more clarity.
Oh, that's so
So
interesting.
I think the simple things like what type of water do you drink?
Mm-hmm. That's so foundational.
What type of vitamins do you take
Mm-hmm.
if you take
Mm-hmm.
any?
Mm-hmm.
What type of organic food? Like if the food that you eat is processed with the dead water, your
Mm-hmm.
food is dead. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it is. And I think all these things are, if you want to build more sensitivity on your meditation practice, but also on your senses, like your extrasensory capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
That can you say that in English?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to do that, like be aware and try things. Try to
Mm-hmm.
eat, like I tried to eat no meat, no eggs, no cheese, no milk, all of that, like the vegan way. Vegan for me doesn't work. My body gets too dry. I have anyway a lot of fire, like I have a lot of chi going on. If I don't calm that down with some milk, then I stopped drinking milk in my coffee. And then I was like, I always need to eat sushi now, because in the sushi rolls, like vegetarian sushi, I don't eat dead animals, as we have found out now. But something in these sushis was good for my body to balance the fire out. Then I was like, it's cheaper to have some milk than all the time. It's like it's Switzerland after all. So like the consuming of food and drinks, like I don't want to like drugs. Like if someone thinks that taking drugs is the route to be spiritual, like I cannot help you. Like,
well, that's a huge
I know it's
thing.
huge. I just don't even want to go there. Like I'm like the discussion bores me so much.
You
I'm like,
know,
yeah, I mean, no,
we're
like
on different pages. Yeah.
it's just like you
Well, so I have a
okay, I
couple
can say
thoughts.
one thing. You should not take drugs. No, no weed, no CBD oils, no other drugs, no, like don't do it. It interferes with your brain and it's just stupid. And if you think it helps you to evolve as a spiritual being, it doesn't. The price you pay for that is just your brain gets wired really strangely and then you're not good after all after that. So don't do it. Stay within you yourself. It's just a coping strategy. All these people that go to Tulum now and that do the ayahuasca ceremonies and think they're super Satnam high, that do these ayahuasca ceremonies and then they think they're super spiritual and they do the tantric sex workshop as well. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why? No, but seriously, I
So
don't get the thing. But
yeah, it's like a very deep illusion program, those whole worlds there. Yeah, because it gives you the sensation of breakthroughs, spiritual breakthroughs, but you can't hold it because you didn't build the energetic structure to hold it through your discipline.
and is it
So
even true? Like I have
well,
many
yeah, the
clients. I have many clients that have done these things.
mm-hmm.
And then they don't dream anymore. They have like these huge problems afterwards because their nervous system doesn't transform the data
It got
properly
blown
anymore.
out.
Yes. And
Yeah.
like just because a tree talks to you for like 2 hours, like is it really worth the trees and the fairies and the gnomes coming to you and be like, oh yeah, my God. Like I
Well,
it's just an addiction. And
yeah.
it's an addiction for sensation. It's an addiction for being faster than you actually are. It's an addiction also for the mind. And it's all addictions are the same. It's like you want to cope. You don't want to be where you are, and that's why you do these things. And it's just not smart. Like,
well, it's very much pulling into the karmic current, so I think
yeah,
it's
as you
not
guys
it's
can
not a
see,
short coat.
Jamila is really nice.
Publicly. Yeah, public,
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Yeah. So
Well,
I'm
I'm
not a
really
fan of it.
interested. Yeah, well, neither am I. I just I felt like all of my pre Kundalini yogi life where I was into that stuff was draining my life force, but I felt that karmically, for whatever reason, I had to have those experiences. And I think everything kind of boils down to that. So but it wasn't in the long run beneficial at all, actually, because I've had to work really hard to repair the nervous system.
Mm.
So
I see that as well in my clients.
yeah,
Like it takes years. Like even
it's hard
just,
to face. It's hard
yeah,
to face it.
it's very hard, and it's very hard to get out of it, because what all these things do, from a nervous system point of view, what they do is they block your ability to transmute the data of the day-to-day life. And
Mhm.
then and then you have like a million open tabs on your
Mm,
desktop of your physical body, because they
mhm,
cannot be closed overnight because the system is blocked.
mm,
That's what's
mhm,
happening
mhm.
from a trauma therapy point of view. So what I do with the clients that have taken drugs, and like it depends on what type of drugs. They're very bad is weed. Like I know people are like, oh yeah,
Which
smoke a
is
little bit of weed.
interesting.
It's for me, it's one of the
Mhm.
worst
That's
that
what
you can
Yogi
do.
Bhajan said too. And
Oh
when
really?
yes, oh
I
yes,
didn't
hugely bad.
know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when
Oh.
I had already quit weed before I started the Kundalini, but I had such an intense relationship with that drug, and I didn't think it was that bad, because that's the perception. I mean, in America now, you can literally walk into a store and buy it in most states. Well, I don't know about most, but in this state I'm in anyway. So it's very deceptive.
Mm.
It's also how it's grown now is way worse than even, 20 years ago, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, go on though on what you have to say about weed. I think that's
And
very
so then
interesting.
there are these illusional drugs, which I don't even know the names, but the ones that give you visual illusions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And these are like really bad, because there is no trust in reality, in what you see and what you
mm,
not see. So there is this
mm-hmm,
distortion in, is it even real or is it not,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
basically.
Yeah.
And then there are the drugs that go on your self-esteem, like cocaine and all of that. What that does is it completely shifts your own inner compass of truth,
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm,
Satnam, basically.
mm,
The
mm,
the 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 drug basically takes the vibrational identity of Satnam and distorts it. So you vibrate truth, but you actually constantly lie, and you don't even know that you do
mm,
that.
mm.
So it's very, very difficult. So I'm really like, again, if you're on a spiritual path and you think taking any type of drugs will help you, here's a tip of someone that works as a trauma therapist. You don't do it.
Yeah.
Just not.
Just stop. Stop right now.
Stop. Yes, no, just don't do it. Just have the guts to actually put in the work. Have the guts to have the time for the evolution. Have the guts to put in the practice, to put in the discipline. Have the guts to change shit into the right direction. Do it right, not
Mm-hmm.
fast. It's
Mm-hmm.
uh, thinking that when you do things fast, when your evolution is fast, when
Mm-hmm.
you cannabis is the worst for me. It distorts your sleep. Someone asked, what about cannabis? It's weed that we just talked about. It stops the transmutation of what you experience during the day overnight. So what you have is you have all these open taps on your physical body, and you're triggered constantly, way more than anybody else ever would be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
It's
it's,
also it's a psychotropic, so it absolutely messes with your sense of reality. So
yeah,
that you go into a deep self-delusion. That's why it's so hard to get out of it. Also because the predominant message in society is that it's no big deal. So you think,
yeah,
oh, it's no big deal, but it's a deep self-deception. So
very, yeah.
if you want to be a muggle, go for it. But if you're on a spiritual path, check yourself,
Yeah. And I think it's
basically.
also very important. There are no shortcuts.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
There are no shortcuts for nothing. Like we have lifetimes over lifetimes of time to actually do the things we want to do. So like take your time. Like if you're not there yet, if you don't feel good with yourself yet, put in the work. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I don't know. It's
I love it. I think it's really important, this message, because it certainly goes against the grain of, the predominant narrative. So it's
yeah.
important nerd topic.
I think so too. And so there's more of consume that I want to speak about because when I have like my clients, like I have a 4 pillar kind of energy income thing where
Mm,
1 pillar is what you consume, like what you
mm,
consume consumes you, as you say,
mm-hmm,
but um everything you have as an intake into your body mind system has an impact. So if you live in a city with millions of people, with a lot of crime around, a lot of drugs around, a lot of fear, a lot of amplification of good and bad, or you live in the countryside at a lake with fruit trees, it just does something. It has a massive impact on your system. Your nervous system needs to transmute the data every day, every second. And the more intake you have, the more there is to actually work through. So if you consume a lot of TV, a lot of series, a lot of movies, a lot of newspaper, radio, a lot of like general music, um, that all is like coming into your system, and every little thing of those has its own vibration. So the new Beyonce song has a vibration. The Netflix series is with monsters and fear has its thing. And for your brain, it's like one thing that I always tell my clients, what's so important to understand about your brain cannot decide or dissect whether something is actually true or just a movie.
mm,
It
mm,
cannot.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So if you watch a series where in the series people are killed and there is terror and stress and deception and lies and all of that, your brain will secrete the emotions and the hormones that go with what you watch. If you are subscribing to the newspaper, you start your day in the morning with the TV and the news, and all they put out is fear, and fear of dying, fear of being in a robbery, fear of getting attacked, fear of losing your job, of losing your money. All your system, your body mind system has to work through is fear. So what you put out, what your brain puts out, is the vibration of fear.
absolutely.
And if you don't do that, if you just like, oh no, I don't watch the news, I don't read the newspaper, I don't listen to radio, I don't watch Netflix series 7 days a week, I don't do, I don't know, I don't live in a city, in the middle of a city, then your system has a totally different possibility to vibrate, to secrete other types of hormones. And then your body mind system has more capacity to actually do the shit you came here to do in this lifetime, to
Mm-hmm,
actually live your dharma, to create. And
totally.
I think that's super important to understand.
Yeah, I totally agree 100%. It also goes with doom scrolling on social media. That's another, entertainment form that is less than healthy. And if you feel that you want to do it, just don't do it before bed or right when you wake up. Those are the worst times to do it. Um, but yeah, I have some different thoughts about that. I just lost it though. Um, but thanks for speaking on that, because what you consume energetically through your ears and eyes is just as important as what you put in your mouth, for sure,
Yeah, and also the
without a doubt.
places you are, also the
Hmm. The
magnet, because
people you're
turtles,
around,
yes.
absolutely.
And like I always tell my clients, look, do you know how turtles go back to the beach that they were born as a turtle in an egg?
Mm,
And then they're like, oh no, I don't. So turtles, they are in an egg, they crack the egg, and then they turtle to the beach, and then they go into the water, they swim away. If they're lucky, they get big turtles. And after years, they come back to the same beach. And they do that because they read the magnetic field of Earth.
mm,
They
mm,
organize themselves. They have, within the turtle, there is this compass type of navigation thing, which is helping them to find that beach again because of the magnetic field of Earth.
I love
So
that.
where you are located magnetically has a massive impact on your own magnetic field, your aura.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Mm-hmm.
so many components of what you could change, what you could shift. Like some set may say, oh, I cannot move away from where I am. For
Mm-hmm.
you stay there. But try, like, there's so many little, like in a Swiss watch, there are like
Mm-hmm.
many little wheels that need to work together. So
Mm-hmm.
try one
Mm-hmm.
and try it for 40 days, and then you
Well,
see what it does.
yeah, and it's also like, perhaps you signed up to be a node of light where you are. I certainly feel that way in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. And I feel so much better every time I leave. I sleep better. It's gotten to be quite thick here. Um, but I consider it like part of my training, being here, and
Yeah.
it's transforming me, the challenge of it. So I don't think it's the right thing for a lot of us, because it's maybe impossible for a lot of us to change our physical location, but we can change the energy at our physical location, because we have many tools to do that now, which we didn't have even a short time ago.
Yeah.
um so yeah, that's very interesting and important things to meditate on.
I
I
think
love
so
it.
too. And just try things. I think that's the message that I wanted to give today. Like, if you feel something has deteriorated into a situation where you don't like it, whether it's in your meditation, in your gut health, in your weight, in your sleep, in whatever, try things. Try different types of things, different methods, different subscriptions, and just understanding that everything you consume, like also people,
mm, absolutely, absolutely.
like
Yep.
people you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
Are these gentle, nice, sweet people? Are they nurturing? Are they creative, or are they nagging and doubting and buying into the negative mind and the destructive mind
Mm-hmm.
set? And
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you are, like it might be
Yeah.
good to maybe change or
Yeah.
just lessen. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to cut off your friends. I'm not a big fan of that. But maybe you just see them less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally. I want to loop back to the avian water
Oh,
sabotage. I have some
sabotage.
thoughts about
I love that.
that,
Yeah.
because I've been meditating on water quite a bit, and the water, programming water, using water as a vehicle for consciousness and conscious transformation. And I feel that our water supply has been sabotaged, if you want to be really real about it. And I honestly believe that, if you think about how water's been you know a, a basic resource of the earth, has been commodified to such an extent that as humans we automatically assume that we always have to buy our water, even the water that's coming through the tap. If you're a homeowner or renting, you're buying the water. But we've lost this, we've come so far into the materialist worldview that we look at water as just this, like a substance that doesn't really have life in it. It's just a means to an end, and it's treated like it's dead. Whether, I think a lot of us on a spiritual path, we subscribe to like water is life, and we've endeavored to, open to the fact that it is living substance, but that we live in a culture where is treated like a dead commodity. So the water that in the Avian bottle, it may have been bottled at the pure spring source of the Avion, France, but it was put into plastic bottles and then went into fluorescent lights and trucks and sat in a warehouse for who knows how long, and what was happening around those bottles of cases of water that made it have like basically lost its life force. And then you're drinking that water, perhaps you're drinking that water instead of maybe a higher quality water that you weren't even aware of before, and that just saturating yourself with the plastic Avion deadened water had such a profound effect on your facilities, perhaps because the water had lost its life because it hadn't been treated with
I think
as a living being.
I think they put stuff in to shut down the pineal gland.
That too.
I would
So that's a whole
I
other.
would even go there.
Yeah, no, and I'm completely with you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look
No, I don't think
around,
it's just because it was sitting around. Because
yeah.
am very aware, and I was
Mm-hmm.
at the time, that water is alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
always talk to my water. And I'm in Switzerland,
I
so
love
like
it.
we're in Switzerland here, so we have tap water, which is like luxury
Which is
quality.
amazing.
Like it's like beyond amazing.
Totally.
So like this is like for me, I'm very aware of that. And
Mhm.
there's no like Evian belongs to Nestle. Nestle belongs to
Exactly.
Rockefeller. Rockefeller, we know like
Exactly.
it's the whole thing.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like Monsanto, that we have genes,
Mm-hmm.
gene food. It's like the whole stupidity of it is
Mm-hmm.
like just like it's ridiculous what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody says anything. It's like so
I
fascinating.
know.
And
That's
people are like, oh yeah, it's normal that they buy
it's
all water
not normal.
sources. Like, no, it's not.
Totally, totally.
It's
Yeah, that's actually one. I completely agree with you, and thanks for saying that, because I absolutely love those rabbit holes. Like I don't know, I feel super charged up when I start to learn about that stuff. I know a lot of people that find that type of information depressing and
yeah.
like makes them feel very defeated.
Yeah, they can go and
But
smoke more weed and be
yeah,
in an
well,
illusion.
I'd like to just offer the point of view that you can use the dark force, for lack of a better word, the polarity of negativity,
Yeah.
as fuel for your fire for your mission on earth. So you do not need to feel like anything is too dark to handle, because you can take that, whatever that reality is that's quite dark, and turn it and use it as fuel for your fire for your
I
mission.
think as long as you're triggered by it, that
Mm-hmm.
there is duality on planet Earth,
Mm-hmm.
you hold the dual part within you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's everything is a reflection of you. If if that triggers you, it has to do with you. Like, and that's probably not from this lifetime, but it's maybe from another
Mhm.
lifetime, or it's
Mhm.
from your ancestor line still running
Mhm.
through your veins. So I think
Mhm.
um for me, like, I know I'm on a dual planet. I have accepted that there is good and bad, and I don't want to play in either of those.
Mhm.
I want to hold the neutrality. I want
Yeah.
to really like I want to hold compassion and neutrality, and like be like
Mhm.
that's I
Mhm.
want to be an inspiration. And
Yeah.
of course the dark forces plays a very well game, because the light force plays a very well game. And the more people come into the neutral space, the more people that meditate and that have a good yogic practice, that have a great um, type of clarity, that they don't have to play one or the other because they're not triggered anymore. I think the more option, the bad and the good have to settle down and to create actually heaven on earth. I am absolutely not on the view that the heaven on earth is the light workers win at
Agree.
all.
Totally agree.
It's
Yep.
not what I think.
Yep.
It's not
It's
what I
stepping.
experience.
Yep.
It's not what I believe. Everything is resonance. It's a vibrational planet. And whatever you see, whatever you get presented, whatever you interact with a lot, has to do with you, with something you hold within you. If you see like only conspiracy theories and negativity and dark forces and the devil and the Illuminati, it has something to do with you. You hold something within you. And if you see war and like all like whatever, you could see a lot of negative at the moment, or you don't. Like this is the question. And whenever you're triggered, that's why I teach my clients how to deal with the triggers and with the resonances, how to listen within and to see, okay, wait a second, I'm triggered by the big corporations buying the water sources. Then I'm like, okay, wait a second, where do I hold this fear? Where because it has to do with me that they can do that as well. And that's what the Buddhists say. That's what all the big yogic scientists say. They do understand that everything is a vibrational reality. And I feel to say that the more you are able to hold a meditative vibration and to pierce the matrix with that meditative vibrational truth, the better it is for people surrounding you, right? And that's what you do in LA, and that's what I do here in Switzerland. And people always think, oh, LA is like worse than Switzerland. I absolutely do not agree.
Oh, I agree. I know I haven't
Switzerland,
spent a
like,
lot of time. Switzerland is ground zero for the
yes,
program. The
yes.
world program.
And I think that's also why I cannot leave here. You know, that's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's super interesting also that like to understand that everything is resonance. So I was born here and it's my job
Yeah.
here. So yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, I when I was first getting into the yogic path and they defined what a yogi is, and that's one who the opposites no longer affect them. And that basically there's also a saying like whatever happens, I don't mind. I think
Bota Karavlikiana Jai.
yeah, and the Bodhikata mantra is absolutely like it's all a gift. It's all a gift. All of
It
it.
is.
So that's a really that's playing the game at a really, it's stepping out of the game. It's like stepping into another game. And I think it's the
It is
definition
another game.
of like what the popular kind of conversation around, ascension or like 4D, 5D, and also like heaven on earth, like it's all existing right now, and it's like, what level do you want to vibrate at? It's your choice.
Yeah. Totally.
And it's a daily moment by moment. It's now, always now. So that's actually really encouraging, I think, for all of us that maybe we haven't been in the vibratory like space that we would like to live at. Well, good news, you're still here and you can change it like right now.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways
I
we do
think
it.
I don't fully agree. I think to change it takes time because the physical body is very slow in most cases.
Yeah, well, I
But
mean, I guess it's more like um it may not be that you're changing right now, but it's possible. There's
yes,
the word satori, which is like spontaneous enlightenment. Like it's the possibility of change at any moment. Like Hadij even says, it could be one strike of the gong, and all of a sudden that thought form just disintegrates. That's been,
yeah,
holding you in a like a vice prison, maybe for
I agree.
lifetimes. It can just get dissolved. So I'm with you. Like it's not, we're not in an illusion where it's just magic fairy dust and like, oh, no problems anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of times it requires a lot of work and a dedication and a discipline and doing things that you never did before, and stepping outside your comfort zone
Oh yeah, a lot.
big time.
Yeah.
So I
But I
agree.
think but I think you're right. Like the the big quality of this time that we're currently in is that we have teachings and we're able to have access to teachings that actually were hidden for centuries, for thousands of years. And it's not just one of these schools that are available now. Like I, um, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher, of course, and this is my lineage. But like I've studied the Kabbalah was hidden for thousands of years, 5,000 year teachings. Super interesting, right? Very, very interesting. I'm studying deeply like Tibetan Buddhism. Like they were like in Tibet, in the mountains, in the Himalayan, behind the walls. Like it was like, and like now the accessibility of Vedic astrology, Ayurveda, uh, what's the thing called from the Chinese how to decorate your house?
Oh, feng shui.
Feng shui. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these teachings are amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
the teachings from Tashi with the crystals and the astrology, and like there's so much hidden teachings that are now available, and the mysticism teachings, also all these like if today someone still has a closed mystical school, I don't know what you're doing. Like I really don't know. Like you didn't get the memo that we're like in the Aquarian age and like there is no mystical schools anymore. Like if you do, if you still hold it closed, you just don't get that. You didn't get what's going on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's it's all because it's the age of experience. We have to start to be able to have an opening in our mind that we want to experience um, different types of intakes or truths. And in the
Mm-hmm.
discussion that we had today, you experience different types of what you bring into your system, what you consume,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see whether it's consuming you or
Mm-hmm.
whether it serves you. It actually
Mm-hmm.
serves your incarnation, it
Mm-hmm.
serves your dharma, it serves
Mm-hmm.
your healing, it serves your body, it serves your mind.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
eat sugar every day and you have like deep anxiety, why don't you try to have no sugar for
Mm-hmm.
40 days, and then you
Mm-hmm.
see, and then
Yeah.
then you eat sugar again, and then you see the difference. It's an
Mm-hmm.
experiential thing. So this is my biggest thing, like try and error, like
Mm-hmm.
use the little wheels of your life and exchange them,
Mm-hmm.
be creative,
Mm-hmm.
change
Mm-hmm.
things. Yeah.
And I'll add to that. Also try just listening to different music, for a certain amount of
Oh
time.
yeah.
Because I love music of all kinds. My dad's a musician. He taught me, he exposed me to every kind of genre of music. And so I grew up listening to every genre of music, which I still love. But when I got into the Kundalini yoga path and I was exposed to mantra music, and then I started to just gradually listen to mantra music like all the time, and I wasn't interested in my other music. And it was because I was getting a energetic like
Yeah, me
nutrition
too.
from the mantra music, and it was taking me out of the emotional push and pull of most modern music. Is very emotional. So if you find that you're dealing with heavy emotions, that would be one of the first things I would suggest, is try changing your music, maybe exclusively for a certain amount of time, to only
Yeah.
listen to mantra music. And there's so much beautiful mantra music in all different styles too, not just like
Yeah.
harp, fairy music. And see what happens, because it changed my life in a very, very positive way too. And so now I more like sprinkle in the other music, and I have to be in the right kind of energetic configuration where it's feeding me rather than draining me, the more emotional music. So that would just be another thing I would say, because I think it's overlooked. And I think especially in, where I live, like when you go into a store, out in public, like you're being bombarded with like usually the worst music, the most programmed, weirdo, occultly manipulated music. So you just start to get more sensitive to the inputs of the sound, as the deeper you go into your meditation practice, and then the more you just expose yourself to really high vibrational sound currents. So that would just be another suggestion of input to change up, because I think we have a tendency to just think about changing our diet, but I think it's important as like practitioners or people that are on a path of awakening to really tune into all the sensory inputs and changing things up, especially if something's not working for you, or you're trying to solve a mystery of like a personal problem, what you're experiencing is not working for you, then that would just be a big suggestion that I would have.
Yeah. Try to change the intake on the sensory systems.
Yeah.
And see what
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That was a lovely talk.
Yay, thank you so
It was
much. I love
fiery
this
today.
subject. Yeah, I think it's really important actually.
Yeah.
The your fire was like needed for
Yeah,
I
I
think a
think
lot of people.
I think it's super like I sometimes like back in the days I was um like shy to show my fire, my passion, my also my sharpness. I didn't want to be sharp. I want to
Mm-hmm.
be
Mm-hmm.
inclusive and I want to be
Mm-hmm.
sweet
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
well, how we
Oh, I
want it
know.
to be. Oh yeah, we do,
Yeah.
don't we?
Yeah.
But I just today I was like, no, I like I really feel sometimes people are
Yeah.
stupid and I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think
Like it's no. And
that's very valuable.
yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. It's because there is no added value in just showing the light and love and in
Oh,
terms of
that's a
energy.
beautiful
That's so
compliment.
cute.
I
Yeah,
love
Lisa.
that.
Lisa is like, oh, she's so cute. Yeah, she does that. Yeah, no, I feel like why do we make stupid decisions all the time and then we pretend even that it's okay to do your mistakes? No, don't do them. Like,
Yeah.
and probably this is like my past life guru that sometimes comes through and like why are you acting stupid? It doesn't make sense. Like this is like the but yeah. So now
The
I'm getting
thunderbolt.
the
No,
thunderbolt.
we all need the thunderbolt sometimes, and we all need
Yeah.
to have influences in our life that will, cut the shit,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
sometimes it's me doing that for you. So
I
you're
think that's
welcome,
wonderful.
everyone.
I think it's a wonderful thing.
Okay. So I think
Yay.
we're good, right? We're like
Yeah, I think so. Yes,
closing
I think we
down, yeah.
wrapped it up pretty good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
job.
So, you
Yay.
guys, for those of you that don't know, we have a podcast, we have a
Yeah.
YouTube channel now with everything available for you in a replay. So, if you ever want to listen to this or you want to send it to someone, it is available on many different places.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
Yay.
everyone, for listening, and
Yep.
have a great day.
Stay tuned because we got some
Thanks.
stuff for you.
Satnam. Bye.
Satnam. Bye.